Hey all, no Null here, once again, with another theory video about Mr. Puzzles returning literally only 2 days after the last one I made. There haven't been any new SMG4 videos with some interesting clues or mysteries concerning Mr. Puzzles, or anything like that. Rather, SMG4 has literally just made a community post which just outright states that Mr. Puzzles may return. Technically, this is not a confirmation that Mr. Puzzles will return. If I was to guess, the Puzzlevision movie was always intended to be the conclusion to the Puzzlevision saga, and to Mr. Puzzles' character, as although I personally felt the movie was anticlimactic as a saga finale, and from a lore standpoint, it did definitely feel like a pretty clear conclusion to the saga, especially with how Mr. Puzzles mentions the previous movies. But I'm assuming that after the movie released, the SMG4 team have seen the mixed reception to how the movie concluded the whole Puzzlevision saga, and they have also probably seen how popular Mr. Puzzles has become in the fanbase. Although this is merely speculation and I cannot possibly know for sure, in my opinion this post was probably made to gauge interest in seeing Mr. Puzzles return, due to his popularity and due to some dissatisfaction with where his character was left off. However, the fact that they did give Mr. Puzzles a Team Rocket style defeat does make me wonder if they did always intend to bring him back, as that would explain why his conclusion felt rather anticlimactic. But we have seen similarly strange and underwhelming writing in the past on SMG4, the latter half of 2022 coming to mind. So, how might Mr. Puzzles return? Let's re-examine this question once again. I won't rehash the theory I proposed in my last video about this topic, so watch that if you want to know why I think Mr. Puzzles could end up being saved by a new antagonist and becoming their lackey. A different theory, which is rather popular among some theorists, is that Clench and Mr. Puzzles are linked, and specifically, Clench is some sort of backup or alternate version of Mr. Puzzles who will later betray Terry and the rest of the SMG4 cast in a surprise twist reveal. If this sounds familiar, that's because this is just a retelling of the Revelations arc on Null's character. This is the main reason why I doubt Clench has any connection to Mr. Puzzles. Plus, the Puzzlevision saga has now ended, leaving no major hints towards these two characters being connected. If you want to know what I actually think may happen with Clench's character, go watch this theory video. The only possible connection these two have is the weird scene in the No TV Make Mario no Okie Dokie episode, where Clench, the sussy backer, powers off very intentionally right before Mario pushes everyone into the basement, where Mr. Puzzles was waiting, before trapping the cast within his head. But considering Clench did absolutely nothing during the Puzzlevision arc, it does not seem like he was hiding from Mr. Puzzles, nor helping Mr. Puzzles. So he must have acted like this for some other reason unrelated to Mr. Puzzles. That goddamn door. Could this be linked to Mr. Puzzles and his return? I knew someone would bring this up, and since we literally know nothing about the boarded up room, I cannot really add anything further than what I already mentioned in this previous video about the link between Mr. Puzzles and the showgrounds. Something I've seen multiple people point out is the fact that one of Mr. Puzzles' stars did not completely shatter, although it was left in a pretty broken state. Perhaps this broken star is equivalent to half a star, and since the ratings gave Mr. Puzzles power over the SMG4 universe, with this power decreasing along with when the ratings decrease, perhaps this one star remaining means Mr. Puzzles could still have some of his power left, although it would be very weak. This could be the explanation of how he survives being smashed away by SMG4, as the little power he had left could allow him to come back onto the air. Furthermore, on the website, the image with Mr. Puzzles' head saying no signal is paradoxically called now airing, perhaps hinting at Mr. Puzzles still being alive in that no signal state. I said in my previous video that Mr. Puzzles returning as a main antagonist was unlikely, because that would possibly suggest the Puzzlevision saga is not over, in contrast to what has been said by SMG4 on YouTube. One of the editors did backtrack on this statement on Twitter after the new community post released, but I do think the Puzzlevision saga is truly over. But if Mr. Puzzles came back with an entirely new plan, perhaps solely focused on getting revenge on the SMG4 crew, and which had nothing to do with creating shows for Puzzlevision, which is what the Puzzlevision saga was all about, then perhaps Mr. Puzzles could return as a major antagonist without restarting the Puzzlevision saga. But I also like my previous theory about Mr. Puzzles' TV head being found by some new antagonist, leading to him becoming a servant of a new antagonist, in an ironic twist of fate considering that Mr. Puzzles was originally the puppet master. Not only would this differentiate a new arc with Mr. Puzzles in it from the Puzzlevision saga, but if this new antagonist was related to Mr. Puzzles in some way, perhaps this new character could be used to explain some of the unanswered lore questions I have, specifically about where Mr. Puzzles gained his power, such as the powerful TV head that can suck people into it, as well as explain why getting 5 stars on one of his Puzzlevision shows would grant him control over the SMG4 universe. This is definitely not a tease for something I may or may not be working on. But who knows, maybe he could even come back as a good guy, as many people have been saying they hope happen, though I find that rather unlikely. Don't forget that this guy is responsible for the events of It's Gotta Be Perfect and Western Spaghetti, so I find it hard to believe that the SMG4 cast would ever befriend him. Moreover, making him good would sort of just be a repeat of SMG3's character development. Speaking of SMG3, what if Mr. Puzzles became a recurring side antagonist, replacing SMG3's old role in the series? There has not really been a character since SMG3 who has taken up a similar role as a recurring antagonist in regular, non-arc episodes. Mr. Puzzles has a bit of a goofy side to him, so I could see him filling this role rather nicely. In conclusion, please bring Mr. Puzzles back, as ignoring everything about the lore and shit, he's just a really cool character with a sick design and a fun personality. He's definitely my favorite SMG4 villain on the design and personality levels, although Zero will always be my favorite antagonist overall. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for my upcoming theories on whether Null is now confirmed canon to the SMG4 universe, and whether Luigi will remain as a meat mallet for the rest of the series.